G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. So, France versus Argentina, Autumn Internationals 2021. This was a pretty close game actually. Argentina put up a really big show. But let's have a talk about the playground fight that went off between the French forward and the bear, Marcos Crima from the Argentinian team. So, basically, it looks like the French team, so Pablo Crima has the Argentinian number 7. He has a bit of a history of having a short temper. So he has been yellow carded against Australia for just basically losing his temper. So this game, once again, the French seems to have studied that and had a plan to try to get him yellow carded, essentially. And this was actually a little bit funny to watch. The poking of the bear incident, I would like to call it. Basically, there was a lot of argy-bargy going around, and the referee basically issues a warning to both teams that any more pushing or shoving, it doesn't matter what happens, who started it, any more pushing, shoving, people goes to the bin. So knowing this was happening, right as this warning was given, there was a breakdown, and Marcos Crima was getting off the ground, right? And the French loose prop, Cyril Bailey, obviously has taken notes during team review sessions. He runs around behind Crima, right? And he slaps him on the side of the body like this. And then he quickly runs down back to the way he came from. So imagine he loops around behind him, slaps him, and quickly runs back. And then pretending that he didn't do it. Like a kid on the break in the child's playground, right? And then obviously Crima was like, I was like not gonna fall for that. He gets up, looks at Bailey, runs up and pushes him. Okay? And Bailey got exactly what he wanted, right? Yellow card's coming! Yellow card's coming! However, his own teammate maybe wasn't paying attention during the team meeting when he was writing down notes about, poking off the bear strategy. Julian Maconde sees Crima pushing Bailey, runs in and pushes Crima, and I could just imagine Bailey just like, oh my god, what did you do? Because sure enough, both of these players got yellow carded. So no advantage to either team. A little bit of shenanigans from Cyril Bailey did not pay off because his own teammate was not on board with the strategy, and they both got yellow carded. So I thought that was a bit of a funny incident there by the French team. So typical of the French team to do something like that. But anyway, this was a pretty big game overall. Really good performance by both teams. French kind of came out of this game with half of their players from the team that they played against Australia in July, and half of the core starting Six Nation players on the field. So overall, this was supposed to say really good French team with Melvin Jaminet really starting to become seemingly the French premier kicker, and also with Cameron Wookie really showing making a claim for their starting jersey for the French side as well. So two really good performers. For the Argentinians, they also had some. They basically said that the poor performance in the rugby championship was attributed to fatigue. So they had a bit of a break, and they came out this game looking really sharp. They really look like that rust has been polished off a lot. And with they also filled up the return of their more experienced center combination also maybe helped a lot with Argentinians. And also I think the big return for Argentina that really helped them was Cubelli at number 9 position. So Cubelli came out to basically so Santiago Carreras basically is starting to look like he's going to be the number 10 going forward for Argentina. But he's still quite a new player at number 10 position. He normally plays at fullback. So Thomas Cubelli coming back really takes off a lot of that decision-making load of Carreras, and he really showed a lot with the smoothness in their combinations in the team. So there's a lot better cohesion in the backline, should I say, with Thomas Cubelli coming back. And also there's a lot of aggression as normal for Argentinas, really kicked up a notch, maybe after that a bit of break for everyone to freshen up a little bit. So it was really good to see. Anton Dupont coming back for French as the captain, also played an outstanding game for the French team. And also, I think one last thing I want to mention for the Argentinians is that is there another thing I want to talk about? Yeah, so basically this was a refresh Argentina really put up good performance against France. They came really close to winning this game, actually. So there was a pretty much like just one really unlucky referee decision. And I think it was a result of Ben O'Keefe making the wrong decision on the field. And then he kind of like realized that he didn't actually... Yeah, so basically what happened was Argentina had a line out. They had 2 crash balls, and one of the players crashes over the try line. He kind of like got tackled just before the try line, and it looked like he slided over the try line and then got held up, basically. And then Ben O'Keefe on the field says, on-field decision try, let's check TMO. So if the on-field decision is try, essentially what it means is that the TMO has to show clear evidence that the ball was not grounded, because Ben O'Keefe is saying he saw the ball grounding. Basically, he's seen the ball on the ground. You have to find a reason for not to give like clear evidence for something that's wrong to not give the try. So the TMO was showing, and Ben O'Keefe was looking at this himself. I think what happened was Ben O'Keefe didn't actually see the grounding, because from the angle that he was standing, I don't think he could see the grounding. Ben O'Keefe didn't actually see the grounding, and he made an error saying that on-field decision was try. So Ben O'Keefe was watching this video, and despite the video not showing the ball touching the line or being... So basically the angle of the camera, I can't really see it where the try line is. The angle basically blurs out the try line, and you can just see the ball touching the ground and then getting scooped up. And then the Ben O'Keefe says, okay, it seems like the ball being held up, no try. And then he was looking at his own assistant referees like, do you guys agree? And both their assistant referees is like, oh, not too sure. So Ben O'Keefe overrules his own decision on the field, called it a no try. So in my opinion, it looked like the ball touched the chalk and then was held up. So the Ben O'Keefe maybe realized that his on-field decision was wrong because he didn't actually see the try being scored, and then just kind of like decided to overrule his own decision, which was really weird. Because if this was a legitimate TMO like decision, a TMO would have no reason to not give the try, because you can't actually see the ball. You can't actually see what the try line is to decide whether the ball touched the ground whether or not he was on the try line or not. So the brief moment the ball was on the ground before it was scooped up, you can't tell whether it was on the try line or not. So if there was an actual TMO decision, Argentina would have that try. But Ben O'Keefe made a bit of an error there, called it off. And this was really important, because this was on the 73rd minute. Argentina was behind by 2 tries. And if they had got this one, they could have probably come out with a much closer decision, maybe a win here. So this was a little bit of a bad decision on Argentina's way. Both goal kickers overall was really good. Jamine was perfect, spot on. Boffelli was really good. And yeah, overall, the Argentina scrum was having a bit of trouble. So overall, France was able to put up a lot of run meters on Argentina, 600 run meters to Argentina's 336. And Argentina had a pretty 12 turnovers to France, 11 turnovers to Argentina. 112 tackles to France, 125 for Argentina. And what really let Argentina down here is the missed tackles, 36 mixed tackles. That's something that, yeah, that's a little bit that's not really that good for Argentina, to be honest. That's something that they still have to improve on. Lineouts, 1 loss for France, 2 loss for Argentina. Scrum, 3 scrum losses to Argentina, and some of these scrums were just straight up penalties where France were able to get 3 points on the board. Actual penalties conceded, 13-13, 1 yellow card each, with the poking of the Crema incident. So quickly go through some of the key points of the game. So right off the bat, France gets ahead with a lot of pressure with 2 penalties, with Jamine slotting them perfectly off the bat. And then on the 22nd minute, basically 20 minutes into the game, Argentina finally getting themselves in front foot, getting the first opportunity of the penalty to go for 3-point. And Boffelli looked super nervous. You can see it on his face. He's just like taking huge deep breaths and taking out almost a full minute to take the kick. And then he missed. This was not that difficult a kick, just tiny bit of an angle right in front. And then, so this kick didn't go well. But things did turn around immediately after this kick. So France was getting a 22-meter dropout as a result of this missed kick. And Jalibert gets the ball. He stood way too close to the 22-meter line. As he goes to drop out, Pablo Materas charges the ball down, and then he basically regathers the charge down, runs towards the try line. He gets tackled just before the try line almost, and he managed to offload to Thomas Kubeli, who runs in support, barges through a bunch of defenders for a try right on the post. So Argentina missed the 3 points, gets a 7 in return. 6 points to 7, gets ahead by 1 point. So 5 minutes later, on the 27th minute, there was a lot of argy-bargy. The poking of the bear incident happened where the French player slaps Crimo on the side, tries to get him yellow carded after the referee has warned everybody no more pushing, yellow card will come. And then with his own hooker running in, pushing Crimo, getting yellow carded as well. So 2 yellow cards, 1 from each team, goes off the field on the 27th minute. On the 34th minute, there was a scrum penalty against Argentina. So scrum really struggling a lot. Jamine able to slot this penalty for a 3-pointer on the 34th minute. On the 39th minute, the Jamine got the commentator's curse. The commentator was talking about how good he was. And literally, as soon as they said that, Jamine misses his kick. So 39th minute, not very... Jamine misses like the only kick, I think, this game. And then that's basically how the game ended at half time. And second half started, basically, Argentina came out with a penalty 8 minutes into the second half. This was a long kick, 14 meters out, but Boffelli has a pretty good kicking technique. He managed to slot this one. So despite missing one much easier in the first half, he seems to come down his nerve, slots a pretty difficult long-range kick. And then France strikes back pretty much right away. The Jalibert gets basically a bit of a finds. Basically, the French was on the attack. Jalibert gets the ball. He finds a short running. He finds a short ball to his number 4. A really beautiful angle from the French number 4. What's his name? Let me try to get his name up. Flamant. He runs through Argentina defense and he literally barged out like 3 or 4 defenders out of his way. Crashes through for a try. This was just pretty much like missed tackles and just really good hard running for the French team. And then he apparently played in Argentina a while ago. So he's apparently teammates with some of these Argentinian players. And this is his first try for France. And then on the 52nd minute, there was a really nice, beautiful counterattack by the French team following a high ball to Jamine. So Jamine catches a high ball in his own half. He kind of like falls to the ground. Looked like he may have knocked on, but it was played on. So Jamine spreads the ball out wide. The French Antoine Dupont gets the ball. He managed to find himself some space and links up with his French teammates. And eventually they did like a 75-meter run, essentially 70-meter run to the try line, puts the ball down. Referee goes back to look at the potential knock-on and look like Jamine just lost control of the ball as he hit the ground. So for a tiny knock-on, no try, but overall this was a really beautiful run. On the 59th minute, there was another really beautiful kick by Boffelli and just really good technique from Argentina. Slots this one, catches up Argentina a little bit closer. 16 points to 30, only 3 points behind for Argentina. But about 10 minutes later, on the 70th minute, Jalibert finds himself another gap in the Argentinian defense. He basically slips himself through a little gap. He gets tackled on the ground. He looks up, sees the number 16 from the French, the reserve hooker running into it, pops the ball up to, what is his name? Morvac, who runs through for a little, again, barging through a couple of defenders for another beautiful try for France again. So France really start to pull ahead with about 10 minutes left on the clock, with about 20 minutes left on the clock. 10 minutes left on the clock, 26 points to 13. So Argentina really need to get back into it with a couple of tries. So Argentina at this point realizes realizes they really need to pick up the intensity and really lifted a lot of the intensity as well as a result. So Argentina actually had to put a pressure on France right away. Had a penalty, a 5-meter line-up penalty. 2 crash balls goes over the line, and this is where the referee says no try because despite the fact that his on-field decision was try, but he decided that watching the replay, it was held up. Despite the replay not showing clear evidence, the ball was held up before the try line because the try line was not showing. So yeah, bit of a bad decision by the referee, so this really hurt Argentina on the 73rd minute. If this was counted as a try, Argentina could potentially have put up an upset right here. So on the 77th minute, Argentina finally gets himself the desperate needed try. They were just swinging to the fences. Another high ball. Jamine and Boffelli, 2 fullbacks, 2 kickers, contesting this ball. It looked like the ball, was heading towards Jamine's head, and then Boffelli was reaching out with one hand. The ball kind of hit Jamine's face, in the head rather, and then Boffelli scoops the ball off in the air towards his own teammate that was running next to him. So Matteo Carreras, the number 11, catches the ball, and all the French defense was not expecting this. So with no one else on defense, he runs in about 20 meters for a try. The referee had a look at this one. This one was actually like a 50-50 call. It looked like Boffelli could have touched the ball before the ball hit Jamine's head. If that was the case, then this would have been a knock-on, but there was no clear indication that was the case, so the try stands. Argentina gets within 6 points of the French. However, the French was able to basically try to run the glass, only have 3 minutes, two minutes or so to run the clock down, was able to kind of recover the ball from the kickoff and started just basically running the clock down inside the Argentinian half. And as a desperate attempt, so I think Argentina actually gave away the ball with a penalty or something. But anyway, as a desperate attempt for Argentina to try to get the ball back, one of the players tries to pick up the ball while his knees were on the ground, and the referee was screaming at him, don't touch it, don't touch it. He picks up the ball anyway, and then Ben O'Keefe had no choice, penalty pretty much right in front for France, and Jamine on the 80th minute kicks the final 3 points for France to win the game, 29 points to 20. So overall, this was a huge improvement for Argentina following the rugby championship. Maybe fatigue was an issue for Argentina. Maybe Kubeli coming back helped out a lot. France also showed a lot of talent. Basically, this is the first time the French showed like their superstars from the Test series against Australia, combining with their Six Nation talent. So this was pretty much a very new mix for the French team as well. So some very outstanding performance by Cameron Wilkie, very outstanding scrummaging by the French team. Demba Bamba did really, really well. And also the captain, the new captain, Anton Dupont, showed a lot of his talent around the field as well. So yeah, this was a very, very interesting game, very highly entertaining. So yeah, let me know what you think about this game, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you agree with the referee decisions, if you watch the game. And anyway, I'll see you guys a bit later this week for the news, and then for more previews for the upcoming next week game. There's a lot of huge international games coming up. Thanks for watching, and see you guys later. Cheers.